You're listening to the Full 10 Yards of Britball podcast with your host, Timothy Lambert-Monk. Yes, welcome in, one and all. This is the Full 10 Yards of Britball podcast. We've made it to week 3, and I suppose considering the current circumstances, that's a win. Welcome in. Thank you all for tuning in. Been enjoying the traction that the podcast and the articles that I've been putting up has received over the last week. So if you are one of those people that have listened or subscribed or watched or listened or read that, thank you. Thank you very much. Obviously, you can see to my right, Jason is back with us to weekly to break down obviously week 3, but obviously take a little bit look back at week 2 as well. Jason, you reliably informed me before we hit the record that you're quite hungover, and I can see as you're puffing your chest out there a little bit, you're sporting your Bulls jersey. I wonder why that is.
I think the Bulls might be playing this weekend. So it's been a very sort of long, nearly 2 years since I last seen the guys. And obviously, it was a semi-final which we lost. So, just looking to get some better memories this Sunday, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Indeed. So we'll get to week 3 fixtures shortly. But just obviously the abomination that was week 2, Jason, obviously we lost a couple before Sunday got going. Obviously more teams pulling out, Aberdeen, Portsmouth, whatever. And obviously we lost 2 games to weather, which obviously it can't be helped. Obviously, I'm sure Sheffield would have liked to have stayed for half hour, as Toby put it, stayed on for half hour after they abandoned the game. But what can you do? But it's a bit annoying, really, because that Leicester Shropshire game was very intriguing, and obviously the controversy around the Leicester quarterback, Dunte van der Ven, and it made it a very intriguing game despite the scoreline being 0-0. But your thoughts and takeaways from week 2?
Yeah, just absolute mishmash, wasn't it? It was just like, obviously Portsmouth pulling out, wasn't great because, the Division 1 side as well. So, yeah, it was quite surprising that they pulled out, obviously, due to numbers. And then, obviously, you had Holton forfeiting against the Titans. So, it seems to be a little bit of pick and choose your game, which doesn't look good, in a good light, really. Obviously, the weather affecting the games as well. I know Merseyside finished late as well. But yeah, the streamed game, Leicester and Shropshire, it was, like you say, it's very intriguing. Also, very sort of surreal as well with what happened. You had the long delay before that with the injury, and then to come back and then sort of whatever it was, half an hour later and. He's called off because of threat of lightning. So yeah, just a very, very strange weekend, and trying to keep up with it all was a bit of a strain, really.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, shout out to that Chester at Merseyside game, 49-40, what game that was. But yeah, as you can see the results there on your screen if you're watching on our YouTube channel. One takeaway I had from week 2, as the scores are still up there, is that I mentioned in week 1 that scoring obviously was hard to come by for some teams. Obviously the rust on that, but the teams that were first out of the gate or their first games, in week 2 didn't have any trouble at all with Rushmore, Northumberland, Aztecs, and Merseyside themselves. And I think it's one or two other that I've missed off, but they had absolutely no problem in putting points on the board. I know, albeit some of the opposition that they're playing against, if the divisions were going to be as they normally would, they're going to be a couple of divisions below. So obviously the defense is not going to be as stout or as stingy as maybe they could have been, which could attribute as to why they scored a lot of points. But yeah, teamly they had no trouble getting points on the board. Any standout results for you from last week?
I think Cornwall as well, down at the old Pasty Bowl, giving Torbay a bit of a lesson. So they're 2-0, and scored well again. So I know they've got the Apache on the 1st of August, so that should see where they are really. So that'll be a good matchup. I thought the Bombers did well, and then you had the sort of the halftime break, and then the Caesars sort of did their adjustments and played a really good second half. So, but shout out to the Bombers. They were leading sort of 13-6 at one stage. So, and a shout out to Barry who does the
absolutely
Twitter. Oh,
legend.
Just unbelievable. Yeah, stop at the game. Hilarious. So just shout out to him. Just keep it up. It's brilliant. Really good.
Yeah. Hashtag say yes to McDonald's, I think, was one of the the hashtags that was a highlight of my timeline on Sunday. Before we look into week 3, though, obviously the teams that are forfeiting or withdrawing, obviously piling up. Are you concerns, obviously at the week 3 stage, that we'll get a season? Do we think Scottish guys are even going to bother starting? Because one or two badly placed withdrawals in some divisions, you could just see the division being controlled scrimmages for the rest of the season rather than actually being a division. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you're to week 2 and already teams are already forfeiting games, or they've sort of come back, trying to come back for 22 better off and everything else. We could all get political and go on about COVID and what it means in the future with the laws being relaxed, and to be fair, I think COVID will have some form of effect. I think that'll be the main reason that will come across. It just depends how many games get sort of postponed or whatever. And Britball, do they replay these games? Hardly ever, really. So I'm trying to fit them in as well. It's going to be sort of October, November. So
where
they're going to fit them in. So it's touch and go. It's touch and go.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, obviously, because you have Uniball. Obviously, they, in the winter months and whatever, and like I say, we're already ending up in October as it currently stands, anyway. But I was listening to the Britballing guys podcast, and they were saying, obviously, you have the potential to be able to play all year round. I obviously don't see why not. It's not as if they're allergic to playing in the winter months, but I thought that kind of sparked some thoughts as I was watching that on as I break it down earlier in the week. But I mean, I think all the while there doesn't seem to be any penalties in the pipeline for these teams that are withdrawing or forfeiting or whatever, teams are just going to do it, aren't they? Until someone, until BAFA or whoever's going to be laying the law down, saying, okay, if you're going to withdraw from the season, you can drop down to associate level, or you're going to go to drop a division, or some kind of penalty. These teams don't have a consequence for the actions that they're taking. And I think that's part of the problem. Again, you have to kind of give them the caveat that there is COVID, but there's some teams here that are, due to lack of numbers, and lack of numbers is the whole point. The reason teams go through the associate process is to make sure that they can sustain numbers and they are a viable franchise, or whatever you call it, a club. So that you don't get these instances of dropouts. And I know we've had 18 months away from the sport, but turn up with 20, 25, 30 people is not good enough. So again, I just hope that they're again, you don't want to kill the teams altogether. Like I say, there might be some teams that are viable for the reasons that they are pulling out or forfeiting or whatever, but there are some teams, dare I say, are out there doing it just for their own interests, and that's not for the good of the game. And that needs to be addressed in my view. So be interesting to see how that all kind of all plays out. But let's not dwell on that too much. As I say, if we don't have much of a season, then we've got plenty of time to talk about it. Once it all folds and shuts up. Anyway, so let's have a look to week 3 then, Jason. Not as many fixtures as there was maybe weeks 1 and 2. Obviously, got 2 cancellations as well as the Surge. I think were pulled out against the Phoenix, and then according to COVID, Warriors and the Olympians was obviously one of the games of the weekend. It will not go ahead. I haven't heard any other whispers of anything at the moment, but some interesting games to put on there and kind of break down. Any particular game that you're particularly looking forward to? Obviously, the balls aside, but that balls game would be an interesting one.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I've got that as the closest sort of on paper. So
I agree.
It'd be really interesting. Like I've said over the past couple of weeks, I've heard good things about Hereford's defence and stuff. And the balls are looking a little bit different from what I've heard. So it'd be interesting to see what happens on Sunday. The other one that sort of stands out for me is Humber versus Leeds.
Okay.
Humber are one of them sides that have really come on and had a great result against Doncaster. So be interested to see where they're at against Leeds, because Leeds, they're Division 1 side previously, so they've been there and done that. So be interested to see where Humber are regarding that as well. So also, you haven't checked out, I think it's on Facebook. They're sort of they did a post from The Simpsons, and it's basically Homer trying to he's going to climb a mountain, but they say it's not that mountain. This one it's bigger, but then he gets to another one, it's bigger. It's about the next 3 fixtures. So they've got like Leeds and then Yorkshire and then Sheffield. It's just a great post.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, that Bulls Hereford game is one that I'm quite intrigued to see it come out. But on for some of the week 3 fixtures, we have a couple of week 1 rematches, and we have a kind of not a week 2 rematch because it didn't go ahead. But Colchester and Cambridge obviously was supposed to go ahead last week. Don't know about you, but if it's got cancelled last week because of COVID or whatever it got called off for, I'm not too optimistic it's going to go ahead this week. But not heard anything yet, so that's good news. But we are recording in the middle of the week. Like I say, it'd be interesting. Interesting to see if there's any tactical England, Italy, Euro 2020 finals. But yeah, let's please let's hope not. But yeah, a couple of those from week 1, Ipswich and News Valley obviously went head to head, and the Blitz and the Exiles as well. I'm really looking forward to that Blitz Exiles game, because the Exiles obviously surprised a few people with the result. I mean, it didn't surprise a few people, but be interested to see obviously in Kent's home stomping grounds if they can kind of reverse the fixture, reverse the scoreline a little bit.
Be interesting to see how the Blitz come out. You usually find, the teams will struggle sort of early on, and they have this close game, and then sort of the next game they sort of obliterate their opponents. So it'd be interesting to see, how the Blitz come out. But yeah, should be interesting anyway, to say the least. Definitely. So yeah.
And go on.
Talking of the Blitz, just the Blitz B versus Wembley as well.
That's what I was going to move on to. Yes. That'd be the thing for me. It'd be interesting to see, how obviously Hertfordshire Cheetahs won last week and put in a much better performance than they did week 1 against the Stallions. It'd be interesting to see kind of how strong that form line is with the Stallions, and hope to God we don't get a red-pink uniform saga again. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how strong that form line is with the Stallions. Obviously, Stallions are travelling to the Blitz B. But yeah, that's another one where, again, you can maybe try and piece together, a prediction or something with that as well. One of the fixtures that will have a wider scoreline is the Thunderbolts against the Spartans, and who's the other one? Be interesting to see the Alphas against the Bombers as well. Your thoughts on any of those?
Tough opening one for the Thunderbolts. Obviously, the sort of the B team to the Thunder. Essex, they got promoted in 2019, so they're no mug. So it'll be interesting how they get on. Bombers, Alphas, it should be a good game. Like I said, sort of Scunthorpe, Northampton, Hereford are no mugs, and it'd be interesting to see how Lincoln's offense does against the Scunthorpe defense, and
and then kind of rounding us off, you've got Yorkshire should get it done against obviously Doncaster. I think they were a bit unfortunate, obviously, to not complete that game against Sheffield. The Apache should get it done against the Jurassic Coast. Oxford Saints and the Hornets is an interesting one, because Oxford Saints have been quite valiant in defeat the first 2 weeks, and it's a bit strange to see someone playing 3 weeks in a row. But Hornets again aren't any mugs, and they've been playing okay. That should be quite a close one, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Hornets' first game, so there might be a bit of rust there. Oxford probably give them a game, but I've got Hornets down to take that one eventually. So, but it might be closer than a lot of people think.
Yeah, I've got that one down. I say because the Hornets not played. I think I've got that one as a low score. Potentially both teams under 20, and like I say, Oxford Saints have been playing a couple of weeks in a row, so should be well oiled. But it'd be interesting to see. Or what the Hornets can put up there, but yeah, interesting game in that one. I think that's covered them all. That's covered all the games. Let's see. Oh no, the other game is Worcestershire Black Knights and Swindon Storm. Swindon not really been pulling up too many trees in the games that they've played, and Worcestershire obviously chomping at the bit to actually get a game played. Worcestershire for you in that one?
I'd actually go for Swindon. Yeah.
Okay.
I think Worcester still a bit of a big rebuild there, so. Just to see if that game goes ahead as well, because obviously they had COVID issues last week, so bit the same situation as Colchester Cambridge, so but we'll see. So just going back to that Colchester Cambridge, I mean, I've been on isolation, but it's only for 5 days, where most people is 10. So whether somebody just got pinged by the app or something, they were all allowed back. That's maybe why the game's taking place.
Yeah, maybe it's not been cancelled yet, so we'll have to wait and see. If you had to put on your plant your flag a little bit on the upset of the weekend, where's your upset coming from?
Oh, let's have a look. Let's go with the Blitz to take the Stallions. I think I wouldn't be too surprised if Kent beat the Blitz.
No,
you know.
No, I agree. No, yeah, it's an interesting one. I think I've actually got the Stallions to beat the Blitz in my article I published today. So, yeah, I'm probably with you on that one. But like I say, there is actually quite, apart from the ones that get the games, with the Rams and the Spartans and the Cardinals. They're either going to be wide score lines or they're actually really quite close. It's actually quite hard to pick an upset this week for me. But talking of upsets and whatnot, obviously we are part of with you and the Britballing guys. These are the 5 fixtures for the 5 fixture prediction competition this week. So you've got the Spartans at the Thunderbolts. Obviously that's an easier one. Alphas and the Bombers, Gladiators and the Cats, Hornets and the Saints, Stallions and the Blitz B. But yeah, I could have been quite cruel to all 3 of us and picked 5 hard fixtures, but we want to try and score some points each week, so we'll see how we go. I say all my predictions on website 410yards.com. It's the most recent article on there, so if you want to go and check out what I potentially could be picking Jason, you can go find them on there. So nice short and sweet this week, obviously getting under 20 minutes, but you visit, obviously you're in isolation. Is that isolation finishing before Sunday? You're popping down to a game to go see the Bulls?
I'm back at work tomorrow, so I was just waiting on a PCR. I was just waiting on a PCR test. So before, because I work in a care home, so it's just me getting the green light to go back. So had no ill effects whatsoever. So whether the app was playing up, I've read lots of stories about it, so we'll see. So yeah, obviously going to make my way down to Hereford on Sunday. So
nice, go see. Yeah.
So hopefully come back with a win there.
Live tweeting. Yeah, certainly be interesting to see that result. Okay, mate. Well, obviously, thanks for joining us. Obviously, if you are not part of the UK American Football Scene Facebook group and you are watching or you are listening, make sure you go and give them a search on Facebook and add a few numbers on to that. Obviously, good luck to you and the Bulls on Sunday, Jason, and good luck to England, of course, making it to the final there at Wembley. I can only imagine what the scenes are going to be like if we are able to bring it home. So good luck to them. We'll obviously be back next week to run the over what happens in week 3 and then obviously look ahead to week 4, assuming there is a week 4. But keep your eyes peeled on our social media at F10Y Britball for any cancellations, any news, and obviously probably a lot of retweets from the Lincolnshire Bombers account. So pretty much looking forward to that. Thanks to Jason, obviously, for joining me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure you do subscribe to us on YouTube if you are watching us. Get us over the 100 mark and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if you are listening, if you would be so kind. But all failing that, all being well, we will be back sometime next week to go over week 3 and look ahead to week 4. So I hope you can join me again when we do it all for the game.